I am Cam Rogers. That guy right there is Tom Downey. Let's take a look at the latest NFL rumors out there. And we'll start things off with the NFL perhaps botching the whole Julian Edelman drug testing thing, Tom. What's the latest?
Edelman, it's 4 heads, so we're just going to give it 2 heads on this one. Edelman and his camp is going to make the argument today, actually, that's when the appeal hearing is set for, that the NFL mishandled the whole plan. The whole investigation, all of it, that they didn't handle the test results right, didn't handle the documentation or the delivery correctly.
So they just screwed it up.
They screwed it all up. That's what they're saying. And it is worth mentioning as well that the NFL doesn't know what he tested positive for. Just that it was flagged and they haven't identified it.
I don't know what that is, but it's wrong.
How can you suspend somebody for that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
So as of now, he's out for 4 games.
Yeah.
He's appealing or appealed today.
Yeah.
And after Julian Edelman, you got Chris Hogan, Jordan Matthews,
for
Kenny
Chris
Britt.
Hogan fantasy this year, baby.
Oh, my gracious. And, of course, Brandon Cooks via trade. He's now with the Rams. So they need Edelman, and they need Edelman to win this appeal here. Do you think he wins?
Maybe, but in an actual court, yes, I think he would win. But this is the NFL,
Tom.
This is the NFL.
Exactly.
It's not fair. Like, they're going to do it whatever they want, I think, in the end. So I would not feel all that confident if I was Edelman.
Are the Patriots cheaters, Tom?
This is all Cam. Yell at him, not me.
Hit us up in comments. I want the comments flowing in right now. Are the Patriots cheaters? And while you're at it, let me know if you think the Patriots dynasty is crumbling before us, talking about the trifecta that is Brady, Belichick, and Robert Kraft. So if you want to expand upon yourselves there, be sure to do so in the comments section. I'll be tracking what you guys say. All right, let's go to rumor number 2 here. Is Cam Newton irrelevant, Tom? Fake news.
Show the photo.
Fake news. It's an actual headline.
This is a screenshot from Bleacher Report. This is a thing. Are we serious?
Is Cam just irrelevant?
How is this a thing? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I get that it's June and we're trying to find stuff to talk about. And the article itself actually made a little bit more sense because it talked about how Newton was at a bit of a career crossroads and all that. But how is that your headline? He's the starting quarterback of an NFL team. He won an MVP not that long ago. And oh, by the way, he's Cam freaking Newton. Everyone knows who he is, and part of the rationale was that, he didn't go viral on this one tweet that he was involved in. Really? Come on, guys.
I don't
this is
get
just
it.
Stupid.
And we don't usually have a lot of fake news to report here, but we have a few.
I had to do it on this one. I absolutely had to do it.
And if you want to talk about Cam Newton among quarterbacks in the NFL, obviously top 13, top 12.
He's a franchise guy. We'll see how he fares with Norv Turner, and I get that's a legitimate talking point. But to ask if he's irrelevant, it's just stupid.
By the way, did you know we have Tom Brady in the comments section right now?
I did.
That's pretty great.
I'm curious where Tom Brady ranks Cam Newton among NFL
Hey,
quarterbacks.
Tom. Thanks for watching. And we thank Man Crates for coming along here with the rumors. Up to number 3 we go. Tyrod Taylor starting over Baker Mayfield, not just for a couple weeks, for years, Tom.
Bleacher Report is on fire right now.
More fake news.
With their comments. Now, to be fair, this via Bleacher Report came from an AFC scout. The quote was that Tyrod could keep Baker Mayfield on the bench for years, which is so dumb for so many different reasons. I think this was meant as like a compliment toward Tyrod Taylor, but Baker Mayfield will be the starting quarterback for Cleveland next year, I guarantee it, unless he's hurt. That's the only scenario in which he's not the starting guy. Tyrod has 1 year left on his deal. How is he going to be the starting quarterback for 4 years to come?
Extend him.
Doesn't make any sense. But, of course, what else would I expect from Mike Freeman, the softest reporter out there on the internet?
Didn't he block you on Twitter, by
Yes,
the way?
because do you remember the whole Julio Jones deleted his like Twitter more or less? He said that was a big deal. I'm like, nah, dude, it's not. Like, which was like, my exact quote was, I was responding to somebody else, he's actually right, though. And he blocked me for that. Yeah. Which I kind of got a kick out of. I thought it was pretty funny.
Okay. Fake news there on Tyrod starting over Baker for years with the Cleveland Browns. All right, you guys are watching NFL Daily presented by Man Crates. Do you know an awesome guy who needs a gift? At Man Crates, gifts are carefully curated like a museum, but actually exciting, personalized barware, jerky grams, project kits to delight any guy out there. Mancrates.com, awesome gifts guys love. Let's go to rumor number 4 on the list. A.J. Green won't hold out, Tom.
I'm going to go and give it 4 heads. He is not going to hold out, and this is actually a relatively common thing for the Bengals. the Bengals and their players get along very well on contracts because oftentimes you'll see players that probably should get cut not get cut, and the Bengals will still keep them even maybe a little bit longer. There's a very good relationship there with the players and the front office and the ownership. And A.J. Green, unlike Julio Jones, although he did say he was supporting Julio in his holdout, Green says he's not concerned about it. His mindset was, look, every year the next guy's going to be higher paid. I can't worry about that too much. So I'm going to play out my contract, then I'll get paid again.
See, he's doing it the right way, Tom. He just is. Why can't all wide receivers be like that?
Because wide receivers are awesome.
Geez. So who's the best in the NFL?
You know what I played, right?
What?
I played receiver and quarterback, baby.
Oh, of course you did.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. Best wide receiver in the NFL, Antonio, Julio, OBJ, or A.J. Green. I think the answer is pretty solidly Antonio Brown.
I think it's Antonio Brown.
All those players can make a case, no doubt about it. Be sure to let us know in comments as well.
Hopkins as well.
All right, let's go to Odell Beckham Jr. How about a holdout for him?
This whole storyline is actually very strange to me.
It is a strange story,
because we're going to stick with two heads for here. Odell Beckham has said he's not going to hold out, and yet New York media says no, he still could hold out. So is this just New York media being New York media, Cam, or is this an actual possibility? I'm not really sure. That's why I'm sticking with two heads for now.
Well, he did tell SNY that he is not holding out. He just
and then
not.
SNY reported that no, our sources tell us it's still an option.
So their sources overrule Odell.
That's the thing.
It's a crazy story.
That's the thing. Like, in Pro Bowl talks, he's definitely hold out, and I actually get it. Like, if I'm Odell Beckham, I would actually kind of hold out because there's some other contractual stuff involved there that it makes more sense to hold out than to not hold out. And maybe you see a scenario where Beckham shows up and is there but isn't actually practicing and is kind of holding out more or less.
But he's present.
But he's present and he's not getting fined. I think it makes a lot more sense for a guy like Odell Beckham who wants so much money to hold out and not risk a further injury. But I would also get why the Giants don't want to pay him that until they see him healthy. So and maybe that's why we're getting to the holdout stage where the Giants want to wait and see. Beckham doesn't want to wait and see at all. And that's why we had the whole debate here.
And he has yet to be fully cleared, too, to practice. So keep that in mind.
Which there are conflicting reports on that.
Of course.
One report said he's cleared and he's just holding out. And he's kind of a fake holdout, a little mini holdout. And then other reports say, no, he hasn't been cleared yet. So I don't know. I'm just going to put the blame on New York media.
This I can say, Tom, with confidence. Odell Beckham Jr. will be on the football field in Week 1 of the regular season.
Done.
All right? That's all I can say to you guys right now. All right, so let's get to the next rumor on the list here. Dez Bryant has no issues at all at finding a new team out there. Two heads.
Well, Dez says he doesn't have any issues. Dez says his exact quote is actually, the last problem I have is finding a team. I'm in a world you will never understand.
See, Dez responds to the commenters like we respond to YouTube commenters, too. It's
you respond to YouTube commenters.
Me, not you.
I don't know how much I believe this. So I do believe that Dez Bryant will find a team. I do believe that he has interest from various NFL teams. But if he didn't have any problems finding a team, wouldn't he already be signed? Like, wouldn't he have just already locked up a deal already? So, that's my issue there. And we know he turned down the deal from the Ravens. And beyond that, there's been very limited interest publicly. And maybe that's because NFL teams are trying to start a bidding war for themselves, which I think makes some sense there as a potential conspiracy type theory there. And I get that Dez says he wants to wait for the perfect fit for a one-year prove-it deal. But if you didn't have any problems finding a team, wouldn't you have already found one? I still think the Titans would make a ton of sense.
There are different ways to kind of point at this. I mean, maybe Dez just doesn't want to be on a team right now. Maybe he wants to wait until training camp actually happens. I don't really know. Take a look at the Vegas odds, and they have some interesting perspectives. The Redskins, the Giants. I just don't see him going to the Giants or the Redskins, to be honest with you. And the Baltimore Ravens, of course, we know, shelled out a multi-year deal for Dez. He wants a one-year deal. Yep, exactly. And Dez turned it down with the Baltimore Ravens. So I think there's a need with Indianapolis. San Francisco could make sense from a financial perspective. The Buffalo Bills from a need perspective, no doubt about that. But I don't know if Dez wants to go play in lake effect snow. And Green Bay would be an interesting spot, too, where, of course, Jason Witten made that prediction that Dez is going to go play for the Green Bay Packers.
Dak Prescott recently mentioned the Saints, but was literally like, maybe the Saints, I don't know, I'm just throwing a team out there. And, of course, that kind of got picked up as like, ooh, Dak says Dez is the Saints. That's exactly what he didn't say.
He's just like forced to say.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, the Saints, which I do think makes sense. And I think the Packers, the Giants, Texans, Titans, I think all these teams make sense for Dez Bryant. I just don't know how much I buy the idea that Dez has no issues finding a team, but I do think there is interest out there.
All right, so the weekly update here, Tom, on Dez back to the Cowboys. I just saw a comment about it.
It's not going to happen. That bridge has been nuked. The Cowboys, I don't think, want Dez Bryant back. And Dez Bryant, I don't think, wants to go back to the Cowboys because of the issues there with the front office and the coaching staff. I saw a comment about the Panthers and Dez Bryant.
That'd be an interesting one.
I thought it made a lot more sense until they drafted DJ Moore. When that happened, I thought, you know what? Panthers are okay there for now.
All right, so the Dez Bryant sweepstakes continues here across the NFL. Let's go to the next rumor on the list. And Sam Darnold, is he starting week 1 for the Jets? That would be an interesting one. We're going to give it one head because he's competing against Josh McCown, who's supposed to be the stopgap guy, and Teddy Bridgewater.
Maybe. I am still going to stick with the one head. Albert Breer said he thinks there's a better than 50-50 chance he wins the job outright. I just don't think he's going to be the starting quarterback. I think that Sam Darnold needs a year, and I think Josh McCown is the perfect quarterback to give him that time, and give him that year to grow and develop. Even Teddy Bridgewater, who we mentioned earlier on in the show. And I think that Darnold, if he starts, he'd be one of the, and I don't think I know this, he'd be one of the youngest quarterbacks to ever start at quarterback in week 1 since the NFL merger. Like, he is abnormally young for a quarterback, which is upside what you like to see.
Sure, he's raw.
But he makes mistakes. He needs time to develop. And I think the Jets are trying to win a little bit right now. Maybe not truly make the Super Bowl or make the playoff run, but they're trying to win and show some growth early on with McCown or Bridgewater. I don't think Darnold's the guy there quite yet. But down the road, he will be.
You say a year. I think it could be less than.
If the Jets start the year like 1-8, I could see it being less than. But I think in the ideal world for the Jets, they don't play him at all this year because Josh McCown slash Teddy look very good.
All right, so one head there on Sam Darnold. Next up on the list, Royce Freeman starting at running back. Tom, 2 heads, but I'm ready to throw another one up there. I like him a lot.
You know what? I'm fine with that, Cam. I still think it's 2 for now, but when we come back in a month and a half, 2 months, whatever, I could see it being 3 heads because I like Royce Freeman a lot.
Sneaky fantasy football play, man.
Keep it quiet because
all right, I won't talk too
much. By the time we get to actual drafts, he's going to go earlier.
Yeah.
Like I think he's going to beat Devontae Booker for the job potentially, and I think he's going to get a lot of hype around him, and I get it because I like a lot of what Royce Freeman brings. A lot of wear and tear on the Rolls Royce. Get it?
There you go.
Yeah.
Took a lot of carries at Oregon.
Yeah. Totally lame, but I did it anyway. But I think with Denver, Devontae Booker has not been the guy that they'd hoped for. He hasn't become the guy to Utah. A lot of wear and tear on Freeman, but I think he can be a true 3-down back in the NFL. I think at the very least he gets a 50-50 split. At the very least. Maybe Henderson gets some work as well there. But I think that Freeman becomes a fantastic player in the NFL. And I agree with you, Cam. A sneaky fantasy play, and I want him on my team, especially in my dynasty.
Well, in fantasy football, it's all about opportunity, right? You look at that depth chart, he's going to beat out Booker. Henderson is not a threat at all. Royce Freeman could be a 20-25 carry guy, and offensive coordinator Bill Musgrave will probably use Freeman the right way. I'm confident in that in case Keenum's not throwing the football 40 times a game. He's just not.
You would hope not, right?
God, you would hope not.
So I like Freeman a lot. They cut C.J. Anderson. I think that Freeman could be a long-term option for Denver. In Dynasty League in particular, I love the idea of getting him.
All right, so that's the lowdown on Freeman. How about the supplemental draft that's coming up? Best this century, Tom, you're saying.
I am all aboard the supplemental draft class. And that sounds like, ooh, a century, that's a long time, right? Or there's a lot of different players out there. There actually haven't been that many supplemental draft picks. So I'm going to give it 3 heads. I'm totally on board with this. You can take a look back, and maybe you don't get as good of an individual player as a Josh Gordon or a Terrell Pryor back in 2012 and 2011. The last guy to be picked was Isaiah Battle in 2015. But you're looking at multiple players selected in the same supplemental draft class. You got 2010 Harvey Unga and Josh Brent out of the league. 07 Paul Oliver, Jared Gaither. To get multiple players beyond 2, so 3 or more, you got to go back to 1989 with Brett Young, Bobby Humphrey, the Bama halfback who went to Denver, Tim Rosenbach, who spelled his name with 2 M's, not just the one, which is kind of weird to me, and then Steve Walsh, who, fun fact, Cowboys took him out of Miami, later cost them the #1 overall pick in next year's draft, in the 1990 NFL draft. So you've got guys like Sam Beal, Adonis Alexander, and Brandon Bryant. I think those three will all be drafted. Sam Beal maybe in round 3, Alexander probably in round 4, Bryant round 4, round 5. It's a really good class there, Cam.
Some
really
good names there. All right, Tom, you're excited about that.
Absolutely am. I can't wait.
Guy, Tom.
Supplemental mock draft. Don't worry, folks. We'll have one for you closer to the actual draft on July 11th.
All right, that's the rundown with the latest rumors here on NFL Daily.